The Arizona Cardinals get a dub, week 1 preseason at home against the Chiefs. A lot of positives. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals postcast number 1. Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen, not a bad showing by the Cardinals. Had a lot of good things to takeaways both sides of the ball. Kyler Murray looked pretty good, aside from the bad interception. We'll break it down here and do about 15 minutes after every game this year, followed by the Cardinal Squad Show with myself, Jamil Douglas, and Ben Garcia. We'll be doing more long versed. We'll be doing an hour. I'll be joined by Jamil immediately following this, so this won't be all the live content you'll get here. We're doing big things here at Locked On. So I'm going to discuss the good. I'm going to discuss the bad. And there was a bunch of both, which is awesome. And listen, I know it's the preseason. I know things. It's very early. I know everything. And what we saw from this Cardinals offense was what you wanted to see for the first cracks of preseason, even though they ran it back. What I was looking for today was Marv to run a route, get a good throw from Kyler Murray, completion for a first down. That happened. Same with Trey McBride. That happened. Greg Dortch getting involved. That happened. James Conner and Trey Benson both look good running the ball. Trey Benson looked good. Amari DiMercato had the long catch and run for a touchdown from Jacoby Brissett. Immediately after I tweeted, Amari DiMercato won't see as much action this year because Trey Benson and James Conner will be, fronting the load. So made me look dumb there. But, all in all, the offense looked fine. Kyler threw the interception. That's everything people are going to remember. It looked like he wanted to pull it back, but he didn't do it in time. And, he threw a really, really bad interception. It's going to be a meme. It's going to be whatever it is. It's confirmation bias for people who think Kyler Murray's not the guy. Even though it's the preseason, this is what it is with people. But I guess you could say that he completed all of his passes and all but one went to the Arizona Cardinals. The defensive side of the ball was where I was most excited to see, what it was going to look like. The first thing I noticed was there were so many guys lining up in so many different positions. Baron Browning lined up on the right side, then lined up on the left side. Zaven Collins lined up on the right side, then lined up on the left side. Dalvin Tomlinson, Darius Robinson were lined up. Darius Robinson lined up specifically on the inside. So it'll be interesting to see where he lines up for the majority of the season, or if they're going to bounce him to D-end or interior defensive lineman, depending on what they need at any given time. But one thing that we saw from this defense, especially the front, was they've got some juice, man. They've got some real juice. And it didn't matter if it was in the first quarter or if it was the scrubs, quote-unquote scrubs, the depth guys in the fourth quarter. All of the quarterbacks that the Kansas City Chiefs rolled out there, aside from Patrick Mahomes, who played for 3 seconds, were running for their lives for a good portion of the time they were on the field. And that is a far cry from what we've experienced over the last couple of seasons. So that is a huge plus. No Calais, no Josh Sweat. Mac Wilson looked good. Jordan Burch looked really good. On his first two rushes at the quarterback, he got a pressure and then he got a sack. The sack was negated by a penalty. He then got a sack later in the game that was also negated by a penalty. But Jordan Burch looked ready to play at the NFL level. And a lot of times, and I've said this over, the course of my time hosting Locked On Cardinals, every day as you'll know this, like when you see an NFL player in a preseason game, you know it. It's like, oh, that dude will play in the NFL, or that guy may be a practice squad guy. He may be a journeyman. He may not make the league for more than just a cup of coffee. Jordan Burch showed in a very small stint today that he has the tools to be able to be a bona fide pass rusher in this league, depending on, how much run he's going to get with a pretty stacked pass rusher room that the Cardinals have, especially compared to what they've been dealing with. Xavier Thomas was on the field. You saw some bursts from him on the left side on a couple snaps today. All in all, for me, the offense and defense looked good more than it looked bad. And that's analysis. Xavier Weaver, Amari DeMarcado, Darren Hall, who's now becoming this preseason Adonis. He had a couple interceptions last preseason, and he had one today. Katan Crawford had an interception in the end zone, very athletic play. It's the guys who are not only just fringe roster guys, but guys who are fighting for that third to second running back spot, or Katan Crawford to make the roster. They've got a whole bunch of safeties. Darren Hall, they did their part to solidify themselves as being a part of this team for 2025. And none of them were really at risk for not making the 53. Xavier Weaver was on the 53 for the entirety of last year and only played 2 games. So they know how important he is. You want to make it as difficult as possible for the coaches on cut day. And through one game in the preseason, those guys did. So aside from the interception from Kyler Murray, the offense looked good. Jacoby Brissett is such a massive. So I was trying to think of an example about this, but it's like Jacoby Brissett, if something were to happen to Kyler Murray, okay, Jacoby Brissett's a guy if you were to go out to dinner and you had your mom watching your kids, it's like, okay, it's going to be fine. You don't have to worry about it. Jacoby Brissett's a pro. He's a dude. The fact that they signed him and they don't have to rely on Clayton Tune if something were to happen to Kyler Murray, while you hope never comes to that next season, you got Jacoby Brissett. He's a dude. He's been in the league a handful of years. He's already building rapport with guys. The theme for the good side of tonight's game for the Cardinals on both sides of the ball is depth. On top of that, Chad Ryland and Blake Gillikin seem to be the kicker and punter for the next decade for the Cardinals, which you just got to throw in there. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Not all good. Definitely some bad. And I will discuss that next as we roll on here on the first postcast of the season. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Ever wish your money management was easier? With Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're growing your savings, you're planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, man, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And it's more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control out of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Today's episode is also brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. It's time, man. It's the best time of the year. We've got football. We've got kickoff. Fantasy football is back in full swing. Load up the group chats. Get the drafts ready. It's time to get on the gridiron with Yahoo Fantasy. They've got this new format called Guillotine Leagues. It's a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's only one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now is the time to get your league together and give the new mode a try. And if you're more into just the classics, you can still play in the head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy football now at yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. So Cardinals win. Cool. Doesn't really matter. The good stuff was good. The bad stuff, in order of importance, the least important one for me, even though it was the first eyesore that we saw, was special teams outside of the place kicker and the punter. 2 fumbles on 2 consecutive kickoffs. One led to a touchdown, and then one the Cardinals luckily recovered. But that can't happen. Large chunk returns from Kansas City. There were a couple of them today. That can't happen. Didn't look good. Jeff Rodgers is going to have a field day with the special teamers this week. Not great. Not great also. It's tough as a 5th-round draft pick to come in and just produce your first time on the football field. Denzel Burke didn't have a great day. He showed flashes late. He had a tackle for loss, I believe, late in the 3rd quarter, early in the 4th quarter. So he started to get his bearings a little bit, but he didn't look great. It's expected. This isn't something where everybody's going to come in and be able to ball out right away. Made a couple key plays later, but early on, he did not look comfortable out there. It wasn't the oh no moments because this game doesn't really matter, but it was kind of like, okay, it's going to take a little bit more of a ramp up, and it's to be expected, even though he came from the national championship winning Ohio State Buckeyes. Akeem Davis-Gaither didn't look fantastic. He was around a couple wide open receivers who caught the ball and had chunk gains. I think it's just going to be a learning curve for him. It's a brand new system. They're working out a lot of kinks. They're trying to figure out who's going to play where. And listen, none of this is bad, like lingering, oh no. But, they're just little things here and there that kind of need to be discussed. This one is a little bit trickier with the offense. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, okay? But it still feels like the Cardinals are running their offense while somebody's like pulling the shirt back of the offense. Like it's not going full steam ahead. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's PTSD. I don't know if it's just I'm too close to it. I have no idea. But it feels like when Jacoby Brissett's on the field, they're airing it out. It's more wide open, and Kyler Murray, it's not. I think Kyler Murray completed almost 70% of his passes last year, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, at an over 90 quarterback rating. Okay. I still, even though I completely understand we're way early into this thing, man, obviously. I just feel like he won't, and I got vilified for this in the comments. I don't understand why when I talked to this past Friday, like I want him to huck it a little bit more. When he had a couple nice chunk gains, one to Marv with a crossing route, good timing route. It wasn't a slant, but it was still a timing route where Marv had to adjust, caught the ball, went to the ground, hung onto the ball. And then the second throw after the interception, Conley threw this dime on this, this longer out to Trey McBride on the sideline. But it still feels like it's not, I don't know. And I know this is their first time on the field again together with refs and a running clock and things like that. But it feels the same. And then you look at the run game, and the run game's like, well, they can do that all day. It doesn't matter who it was. I know this is in the bad segment, but I wanted to add this to the good segment. Like anybody who touched the ball today was efficient. I mean, James Conner got 3 carries, I think. Trey Benson looked good, and Mark Demercado looked good. Michael Carter looked good. Zonovan Knight looked good. Like if the run game can do that, the pass game needs to be able to keep up. Or what the hell are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then, the offensive line, this is the most important bad one. It wasn't awful, but it's kind of like, okay, just gotta keep your pulse on this a little bit, kind of see what it's going to be. But the backups, the second and third string offensive linemen, if somebody goes down, like luckily the Cardinals have, Kelvin Beachum didn't play today. Will Johnson obviously didn't play today. They've got some dudes who can step in and play pretty much any position if any of the starters were to get hurt. But it is a huge drop-off, especially at center. Like Hayden Conner, kind of learning a new position. Don't know if he's going to make the roster. Didn't look great today. Again, this is still very new for him. This is his first NFL action, so you're not going to eat his entire lunch for it. It's just something to monitor. With John Gaines having a hand injury, he's in a cast, he would be the guy that would back up Hjalte Froholt if something were to happen to him. But you kind of get a glimpse. And as we get into the second and especially the third preseason game where the starters probably aren't going to play, that's what you're going to be looking at for the one thing I've been saying this offseason is this locomotive can't slow down if there's injuries. This is going downhill. This is a one-shot deal for Kyler Murray at all. Like if Kyler Murray doesn't produce and it doesn't matter who gets hurt, like you're not going to, well, everybody got hurt, so let's run it back. It's too late for that. So you've got to have all of your P's and Q's minded. And with that, the depth you need to have two dudes at least at every position that can produce to be able to cocoon yourself if there is some sort of injury. And what we saw today after the ones were taken out from the offensive line was a massive drop-off. Christian Jones played pretty well. I think he was fifth rounder last year, fourth or fifth rounder at left tackle, played pretty well, got injured, went back to the locker room. We'll see the severity when the news comes out after the game. But that's the biggest bad, if there were one, is the drop-off from the ones to the twos in the offensive line. Luckily, they do have Kelvin Beachum, and they will have Will Johnson at some point this season to be able to combat that if somebody were to get injured. But all in all, Cardinals get a dub. The good was good. The bad is fixable. And this was our first postcast of the year. This is what the cadence is going to be moving forward on game day. You will see my big dumb face for 15 to 20 minutes. Then you'll see the squad show with me, Jamil Douglas, and Ben Garcia for about an hour. And then I will be doing regularly scheduled Monday through Friday. So remember, without you, there is no me. Thank you for joining the first postcast of the 2025 season. I will talk to you in about 10 minutes with Jamil Douglas for the Cardinal Squad Show for about an hour. Check me then, and then Locked on Cardinals on Monday. I'll talk to you then.